The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to The Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of The Shit Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. I have a very special guest. You guys have seen him here before, but he's back. Thank you for coming back, my buddy, Meny Saenz.
Hey, what up? I was going to start singing like, hey, guess who's back?
That's cool.
Back again.
Welcome back, man.
Thanks, Sam.
I know that you're visiting Ciudad Juarez. You're from Mexico City. Visiting from Mexico City, originally from here.
Yes.
Grew up here. So it's a pleasure to have you back. I know you've been here for a couple of weeks. I'm glad we were able to get together and do this podcast.
Thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, I'm visiting, doing some projects. Yesterday I went to the open mic.
Nice.
Was my third time doing
stand-up.
Stand-up, yeah.
Welcome to the club, man.
Thank you, man.
Look, I say this all the time. When you want to do stand-up, you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's people that kind of float around a little while, but you don't see them after a while. But when you love stand-up, it's like you'll do everything it takes to get it done. So
I loved it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're doing it. Keep working. All I can tell you is keep getting up. That's the best. That's the best way to learn how to do stand-up. You'll learn what works, what doesn't work. There's some guys that have been doing stand-up for 10 years, and the first 10 years they're not funny.
Okay.
And then one day they go on stage and they destroy, and you go, what just happened? You know, and so it's part of the learning process. We all learn differently, and there's guys that are mediocre the whole career, and there's guys that are great, you know. So just if you love it,
keep getting on the open mics.
Keep getting up. Figure it out, you know.
Will do.
That's all I can tell you. And, you know, congratulations.
Thanks,
fun.
Man. Yeah. Everyone's been like so supportive and like, oh, it's awesome, man. Like, this is the first new thing that I start that everybody, like friends and family are like, that's cool. Like other comedians, like there's a lot of support.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
At least here in Juarez.
Juarez has a very nice scene. It's a very supportive scene, you know. But I have noticed that in other places, you're fine until you get funny.
Okay.
And then once you're funny, then it's
everything changes.
Now we're competing for work.
Okay.
You know, so you most of the time you'll be good until you get really. Juarez, I think, is still a long ways away from being that kind of a scene. That kind of a scene.
Okay.
But when you get to the bigger markets, you'll start to see that everybody's fighting for the same types of scraps. You know. Yeah. So just be ready. I mean, just what my advice is: be cool to everyone and have a good time. And your opportunities will show up, and there's room for everyone, really, because everybody's different.
Everyone has something different to say. Like
and it's a different style. Your version of stand-up and my version are totally different versions, but it just seems like as you start becoming a threat, then things start to change a little bit. But one of the things I loved about comics was that they'd always stay after the show and say hi to the audience.
That's cool.
And before I was a stand-up comic, I thought that was the coolest. It's like, where else do you get to meet someone that's famous and that's still going to take a photo with you and be cool with you?
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, comedy. So that part of it, no matter where I get in my career, I think I'll always be grateful to the people that support it.
Awesome.
And all your friends and family will go to your open mics and your shows, and then they'll start dropping off.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you'll be completely alone. Because they will have supported you the first couple of years, and they'll get to a point where they go, yeah, we've seen it, we've done it, it's cool, bro. And you have to realize that this is a very solo thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's yesterday in the open mic, a couple of friends went, and it was the first open mic with like people I knew besides my wife, but it was a little bit more intimidating. I don't know, like I know these people, like they know that I'm like funny, like regular funny, but I don't know. I prefer if there's a bunch of people I don't know.
Hey, you'll get
That's
to where
just me.
You'll get to where you'll get used to performing in front of friends and family and strangers. That's the whole point. You know?
Cool.
Just keep
Looking
getting
forward
up.
to it. Yeah.
But you know, I invited you to this episode because we did the episode in Spanish talking about burritos.
Yeah.
Well, to me this is like the burrito's cousin. The nachos.
I agree. Yeah, nachos. Nachos. I think it's the best. One of the best things that American people have brought to the Munchies universe. Munchiesverse.
It's actually Mexican.
Mexican.
It's Mexican.
Tex-Mex or just Mexican?
It's Tex-Mex technically because it's Mexican, but it actually has a very interesting story. I first heard about the story on Food Network when I was watching Anthony Bourdain, and he was talking about his show No Reservations. Mm-hmm. He was talking about how the nacho was created. Actually, a guy named Nacho created the nachos.
Nacho.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
The guy's name was Ignacio Nacho Anaya.
Okay.
From Piedras Negras.
Oh, Piedras Negras.
Piedras Negras, Coahuila, yeah.
Black Stones.
And Black Stones, you know. And during the 1940s, the U.S. was in a war. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we had people in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of the soldiers' wives would go shopping in Piedras Negras. They'd go from Eagle Pass, and we talked about how Eagle Pass and Piedras Negras have a very similar
structure, like here in Juarez El Paso.
Like Juarez El Paso, where you could just go across and you're in the next town.
Yeah.
So they'd go from Eagle Pass to Piedras Negras, and they'd go shopping. Well, they happened to go into a restaurant called the Victory Club.
Okay.
Right? And several of the stories that I read were different. Some said that Ignacio Anaya was a chef there. Others said that he wasn't a chef, that he was a maitre d', that he was the host.
Okay.
And that he didn't have a chef.
Okay.
Right? Others said that he, I don't know what the truth is, but what I know is that they got there after the place was ready to close. And if you've ever been to a restaurant that's ready to close, it's the worst time to ever go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because even if you're like, well, there's 10 minutes left, right?
Everyone's ready to go.
Everyone's ready to go. So you get your food is cold. The food isn't very good.
You get like the scraps of whatever's left.
Yeah. So that's the worst time. I won't go to a restaurant if it's not at least an hour before it closes.
Yeah, because like everyone wants to go, and working at a restaurant is like a rough job, and they're like, gosh, like here comes this guy, like 5 minutes,
and he's gonna order an appetizer and an entree, and he's gonna want dessert, and I gotta go out. I'm stuck here, So these ladies show up, and he didn't want to turn them away. Money. It was American money. It was an opportunity to make some dollars. So they said, we're hungry. And he said, and I believe he didn't have a chef because a chef would have never done that. But this guy went into the kitchen, looked around. He found some tostadas or totopos, they call them. Nacho chips is what everybody knows them as. But he found these chips, and he grated cheese over them. And it was weird because it specifically said Colby cheese, which is yellow cheese, which we know that's as gringo as it gets. Yeah. No self-respecting Mexican restaurant
that type of cheese.
Has yellow cheese. No. I mean, that's one of the things that annoys me about traveling into the central of Texas and ordering Mexican food is that everything's in yellow cheese. Yeah. And even the Mexican restaurants where the people are Mexican from Mexico, you can tell that they just moved there. They have yellow cheese, and I'm like, can you get me some white cheese?
Yeah,
please?
Because you order like the quesadilla and with yellow cheese.
Yellow cheese, and you're going like, what's
I don't
this?
Want
right?
that. Yeah.
So I go to Central Texas, and I ask for white cheese. Well, he grates this Colby Jack cheese onto these tostadas. He stacks them, and he puts jalapeno slices in there.
Okay, like easy. Yeah.
Puts it in the oven. Comes out, it was a hit.
Okay.
The ladies loved it.
So it was just like the cheese and the jalapeno, and that's it.
And that was it. It was an appetizer for the ladies, and they were super happy with that.
Okay. And what's this plate called?
What is it called? And he goes, I guess it's called
like me,
the Nachos Especiales. That's what he called it. Nachos Special. It's the Nacho Special,
Nacho Special.
And Nacho Special. And you go, okay, that's cool. That's kind of a very folkloric story, right? And you go, is it true? Is it not true? Well, in 1949, there's a quote in a cookbook edited by Jane Trahey with a quote talking about Pedro, the waiter, with a tray full of nachos especiales.
Okay.
Right? So there's a 1949 reference to this situation.
Okay.
Right? And there's cookbooks that talk about, here in 1954, the St. Anne's cookbook confirms the existence of Nacho Anaya and his dish, the nachos especiales.
Okay.
Right, so this really happened in Eagle Pass, right? 1943.
The Nacho Especiales. It's a cool story. Yeah.
It's a cool story, yeah. You fast forward to 1950.
Okay.
There's a waitress named Carmen Rocha.
Okay.
Now, we didn't get around to talking about it in the last episode with the burritos, but there's actually a restaurant in Los Angeles that's very famous. It's called El Cholo.
El Cholo.
El Cholo Cafe.
Cafe.
Right? And El Cholo Cafe was like El Cholo Spanish Cafe. Okay. So it was a cafe that was around since like 1923, and it served Mexican food, and it used El Cholo as its name. I think it's still around today.
In LA.
In LA.
Okay.
Right? But they're credited for making the burrito famous. They're also credited for making the nachos.
The nachos.
Famous, right? And this waitress, Carmen Rocha, the waitress at El Cholo restaurant in Los Angeles in the 50s, is credited for making the nachos popular. Jack Nicholson remembers her as friendly, outgoing lady that loved to make this special snack. And it wasn't on the menu. So it was like a off menu thing.
Okay, yeah, like they just made it like for me, you know?
Yeah, something special. So the nachos become a hit in the United States. And that's why there's a little bit of a hate relationship with Mexico.
Okay.
Mexicans, like Southern Mexicans, think that that's a very white dish.
Yeah.
And it is, because Nacho made that for those white ladies that were shopping. So that's where it's kind of a mix. It's like, it truly is a Tex-Mex dish. It was invented by a Mexican in Mexico for white ladies.
Yeah, he probably thought like, I'm gonna kind of open like a new pack of meat or something. Like, it's like the totopos. I'm gonna
just something for now.
Cheese, like,
hey, they're hungry. Let me get them something now.
Yeah, like have here some asadero cheese. Nah.
Yeah, it's amazing that the hot dog on a fork over the stove didn't take off. But maybe this is something he'd done before at his house. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
But he happened to do it for these ladies, and they loved it, and it became a popular dish. And of course,
everybody loves nachos.
Everybody loves nachos. Yeah. And like there was a place in El Paso called Jackson's Brewery back in the day.
Okay.
Right? They had the best nachos ever. They had what we would call skirt steak.
Yeah.
Marinated skirt steak.
Like arrachera, something like that. Yeah.
And it was like the most delicious nachos ever. And then it was marinated arrachera. It was great. And then I went one night and I ordered the nachos because they were so good. And I got this crappy dish. Like, it was like lettuce,
sour cream.
And it had like
pico de gallo.
Shredded, no, not shredded beef. It had ground beef. And
okay.
It just looked like they
like
just
a goo.
It just looked like they just threw it together. Like, here's your nachos, right?
Yeah, because the nacho is like a very simple dish, but it's not that simple to make. Like
that was very gourmet what they used to have.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you come out with this stuff that you go, what the heck is this, right?
Yeah.
And I remember eating that and thinking, I was on a date that night and I told the girl I was with, I go, man, their quality went way down. I don't know what the deal is. The next day, comes out in the paper that was their last night open. So that was like the ultimate. Yeah, and they closed after that. So that was like the ultimate getting there right when they're going to close. You know what I'm saying?
Like the worst
but
time.
Forever.
Worst time.
You know, so that explains why I got those nachos. But the nacho really took it in the 1950s, really with El Cholo, and it really started picking up in the United States. It was in 1976. 1976. We're talking now 26 years later, right? There's a young man who's a second or first generation born in the U.S. I guess he's an Italian American because his father was from Sicily.
Okay.
Right? And so Enrico Liberto.
Enrico.
Right? His dad had a little grocery store. His dad had, and they came up with something called Rico's Confectionery or Rico's Snacks.
Okay.
Now, if you go to the supermarket right now and you look, there's actually cans of condensed cheese product that is called Rico's.
Rico. I haven't seen it. But.
Yeah, they're like yellow and red. Now, the Rico cheese product was the first time that you could have cheese without having to refrigerate it.
Okay.
Right. So they
just ready to serve.
Ready to serve. So they came up with a way to make cheese, liquefied cheese, and use it for nachos. Well, in 1976, they introduced it to Arlington Stadium.
Okay.
Right? And the classic ballpark nachos are born. That's with the round little tortilla.
Okay.
Tostopos.
Yeah, like the tostitos.
The tostitos, and then the
melted cheese.
The liquid cheese. And jalapeno slices, which, by the way, I love that too. That's like a whole different type of nacho.
Yeah.
And so in 1976, and that just takes off. They had hundreds of thousands of sales.
The nachos.
Right? And it became a thing where it became so popular in the United States that that's actually one of the biggest money-making things for stadiums, is the nachos.
Yeah, it's just like simple, easy, like, and with the new liquefied cheese, like it's faster than ever.
Which, by the way, a lot of people don't like that. I mean, if you go, that's the thing about Jackson's is that they actually use like Monterey Jack or pepper
like
Jack cheese,
real cheese.
Yeah, and they would shred it onto the nachos and put them in the oven. So it was like a very nice nacho dish, but this liquid, these ghetto nachos, the ones with the liquid cheese and the jalapeno slices. Yeah. Those are great.
Yeah, those are great too. Like there's different type, but yeah.
If you go to the movie theater, they give you a little cup of that Rico's cheese. Yeah, and you just dip. Those are hard because you dip your fingers in them, and then I see a lot of people put those in the popcorn. Then I go, how do you eat
You just like let them stick on the finger. And
it's pretty gross, especially with the coronavirus and everything going on. So it wasn't until 76. Well, nachos are such a food staple that they actually carry to holidays. And November 6th is official Nacho Day in the United States.
November 6th?
November 6th,
That's new. I didn't know that.
And October 21st is the day in Mexico.
The nacho.
Namely, Piedras Negras.
Okay.
Right. And it got to be so popular that they actually erected a statue
of a nacho.
Of Ignacio.
Ignacio.
In Piedras Negras.
There's a statue of Ignacio.
A bronze statue of him because he created them.
We need to go to see that.
We need to go check it out. That's like a road trip idea, right?
Yeah, yes.
And his son, Nachito, he never, Nacho never tried to get any like legal credit for the invention of nachos.
Okay.
His son did. His son wanted to patent the nachos.
Okay.
But they were like, it's too late.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Everybody makes it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Some fun facts about nachos. Let's see. A school in Kansas holds the record for the largest plate of nachos in the world.
Okay.
Right? The gigantic platter weighed a whopping 4,689 pounds.
Man.
And 2,200 of those pounds were nacho cheese. Servings of the 80-foot creation were sold to the masses for $1 each in an effort to raise funds for charity. So it's disgusting.
The charity for Nacho's house. No?
I don't know. But that's disgusting. 5,000 pounds. Would you eat? Would you go grab a chunk of that? No, right?
Of course not. No.
By the time you get to, can I get some from the middle, please?
Yeah, no.
Make sure. Can I get some sour cream with that? Yeah. But and then another fun fact is that they credit the United States for making tostadas or totopos what they are today. Although in Mexico they had the practice of doing that, it wasn't until a restaurant in the United States decided, hey, this is how we can get rid of our old tortillas.
Yeah.
Let's cut them up and deep fry them.
Yeah, and fry them.
And from there, everything else was born.
changed.
And now think about it. Doritos, Tostitos, all these different companies that just make tostadas, or chips.
And it's like the best snack. That's easy. You just get a bag of chips and then salsa, or just bag of chips with the Rico cheese. And
or how about the ultimate evolution of the nachos?
The nachos.
The Dori Nacho.
Dori Nacho. Oh.
Yeah, right.
In Oaxaca, you can get the Dori Nacho, Tocinacho, with a bunch of chapulines.
Oh, no.
You must go there.
I'll pass.
It's awesome, man.
I'm not into eating bugs. I mean, I get it. They're probably great for you. But that's one of those things where my mind knows what it is, and
it's not gonna happen.
It's a gag reflex, So, with that, we wrap up this episode of the Shit Podcast talking about nachos, the one snack that was actually born on both sides.
Sides of the border.
So, we appreciate you guys joining us. Where can people find you?
I am at Instagram at No Soy Manuel.
No Soy Manuel. Yeah. And you can find me as Tu Amigo Sam on all my social media, as well as my YouTube channel. And you can also find me on all the podcast platforms as Sta Cagado Podcast. With that, we wrap up this episode. Thank you guys for joining us. That's it for now. We'll catch you next time.